how the white oranges reacted, just in the States, reacted to School Daze compared to She's Gotta Have It. I think that the was a big pull for She's Gotta Have It.
Right. Pickaninny, Barbie doll, high yellow heifer, tar baby, wanna be white, jigaboo. Don't start. We're gonna finish it.
You know, it was a musical peppered with a lot of music, and he culled it down to really make it a story about light skin and dark skin blacks on a college campus.
Picture this. You're watching a movie in 1988, and suddenly there's a scene so raw, so shocking, that theater owners are calling the studio, asking if they should stop showing the film. Audience members are walking out. Critics don't know what to make of it. And the director? He's getting death threats. This isn't some horror movie or action flick we're talking about. This is School Daze, a film about college life that somehow managed to create one of the biggest controversies in cinema history. What you're about to hear is the untold story of how one scene almost destroyed Spike Lee's career before it even began. A scene so powerful that it's still talked about today, more than 30 years later. But here's the thing that'll blow your mind. The scene that caused all this chaos? It wasn't even supposed to be in the movie. Let me take you back to 1987. Spike Lee was still a young filmmaker trying to prove himself. He had just made his first movie, She's Got to Have It, on a tiny budget, and now he wanted to tackle something bigger, something personal, something that would shake people to their core. School Daze wasn't just another college movie. Lee had a vision that went far beyond fraternity parties and campus romance. He wanted to expose the dirty secrets that nobody talked about in the black community, the painful truth about colorism, the way people with lighter skin were treated better than those with darker skin, even within their own community. It was a topic so sensitive that most people pretended it didn't exist. But Spike Lee wasn't most people. He was angry, he was passionate, and he wasn't going to back down from telling the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it made people feel. The movie was set at a fictional historically black college called Mission College. The story followed different groups of students who were divided not just by their beliefs, but by something much deeper and more painful: their skin color. Lee created two main groups in the film: the wannabes, who were lighter-skinned students from wealthy families, and the jigaboos, who were darker-skinned students from working-class backgrounds. Now, here's where things get really interesting. During filming, Lee made a decision that would change everything. He didn't just want his actors to play these roles, he wanted them to live them. So he did something that sounds crazy, but was actually brilliant. He separated his cast into two groups, just like in the movie. The actors playing the wannabes got better hotel rooms, better food, and special treatment. The actors playing the jigaboos were given basic accommodations and treated like second-class citizens. Lee wanted real tension between these groups, and boy did he get it. The tension became so real that one day, during the filming of a step show scene, something incredible happened. The two groups of actors got into a real fight. Any other director would have yelled, "This wasn't scripted," and stopped the cameras. These actors were genuinely angry at each other because of how they'd been treated during filming. He kept those cameras rolling and captured every second of that raw, emotional confrontation. That footage became one of the most powerful scenes in the entire movie. But here's the scene that really got people talking. The one that almost got the movie banned. It's called the good and bad hair scene. And if you've never seen it, you need to understand just how shocking it was for 1988. In this scene, the wannabes and jigaboos face off in what starts as a dance battle, but quickly turns into something much more intense. They start hurling insults at each other, but these aren't just any insults. They're attacking each other's appearance, their hair texture, their skin color. Everything that black people had been taught to feel ashamed about. The wannabes start chanting about having good hair, while putting down the jigaboos for having nappy hair. The jigaboos fire back, calling the wannabes high yellow and accusing them of trying to be white. The language gets harsh, really harsh. Words that made audiences gasp and critics clutch their pearls. What made this scene so powerful wasn't just the words being said. It was how real it felt. The pain in the actors' voices, the way they moved, the raw emotion that poured out of every single person on that screen. This wasn't just acting. This was decades of hurt and frustration finally being expressed. But here's what most people don't know about that scene. It was inspired by something that happened to Spike Lee himself during filming. Remember how I told you that Lee originally wanted to film at his old school, Morehouse College? Well, there's a reason that didn't happen, and it's more shocking than you might think. When Lee approached Morehouse about using their campus, he met with the college president at the time, a man named Hugo H. Morris Gloucester. Lee was excited to film at his alma mater, but that excitement didn't last long. Gloucester looked at Lee's casting choices and had a problem. A big problem. The man Lee had cast to play the college president in the movie was, according to Gloucester, too dark-skinned for the role. Can you imagine? Here was Spike Lee, trying to make a movie about colorism within the black community, and the president of his own college was proving his point by rejecting an actor because of his skin color. Lee later said that when Gloucester told him this to his face, he knew he was doing the right thing with his movie. If the president of Morehouse College was still thinking this way in 1987, then the problem was even bigger than he thought. Because of this disagreement, Lee and his entire crew were kicked off the Morehouse campus. They had to move their entire production to Morris Brown College, another historically black school in Atlanta. This change cost them time and money, but Lee refused to recast the role. He stood by his choice and his message. This experience fueled Lee's passion for the project even more. Every day of filming became a mission to expose these hidden prejudices. The good and bad hair scene became his weapon of choice. When audiences first saw this scene, the reaction was immediate and intense. Some people cheered. Others walked out. Theater owners received complaints. Some critics praised Lee for his honesty, while others accused him of airing dirty laundry that should have stayed private. The controversy spread like wildfire. Black newspapers and magazines ran heated debates about whether the movie was helpful or harmful to the community. Some argued that Lee was exposing important issues that needed to be discussed. Others felt he was giving white audiences ammunition to use against black people. Religious leaders spoke out against the film. College administrators worried about how it would affect enrollment at historically black schools. Even some of Lee's own friends questioned whether he had gone too far. But the scene that really pushed things over the edge wasn't just the good and bad hair confrontation. It was what happened right after it. In the movie, this intense argument leads to something even more shocking. The character Half Pint, played by Spike Lee himself, ends up in a situation that viewers weren't prepared for. Without giving too much away, let's just say that Half Pint's desperate desire to fit in with the popular crowd leads him to make choices that leave audiences uncomfortable and angry. The scene is filmed in a way that makes viewers feel like they're witnessing something they shouldn't be seeing. It's raw, it's real, and it's deeply disturbing. This particular sequence had studio executives panicking. They worried that theaters would refuse to show the movie. They feared that community leaders would organize boycotts. Some even suggested that Lee cut the scene entirely. But Lee refused to budge. He knew that this scene, as uncomfortable as it was essential to his story. It showed how the desire to belong, combined with internalized racism and peer pressure, could lead to devastating consequences. The movie was released in February 1988, and the controversy exploded nationwide. Protesters gathered outside theaters. Religious groups organized boycotts. College campuses became battlegrounds for heated discussions about colorism, identity, and representation. Some theaters did stop showing the film, not because they were forced to, but because the debates it sparked were getting too intense. Theater managers worried about fights breaking out in their lobbies. Some cities saw protests and counter-protests happening on the same day. The media couldn't get enough of the story. Talk shows booked Spike Lee to defend his film. Newspaper editorial pages filled with opinions from both sides. Everyone had something to say about School Daze, whether they had seen it or not. But here's the thing that makes this story even more incredible. Despite all the controversy, or maybe because of it, the movie was a success. It made over $14 million at the box office, which was huge for a film made on a $6 million budget. More importantly, it got people talking about issues that had been swept under the rug for generations. The impact of that controversial scene went far beyond the movie theater. It sparked conversations in black families, in college dorms, in beauty salons, and in churches. People started talking openly about colorism for the first time. They started examining their own biases and prejudices. Young people especially connected with the film. They saw their own experiences reflected on screen, even if those experiences were painful. For many, it was the first time they had seen a movie that didn't try to make black life look perfect for white audiences. The success of School Daze also changed Spike Lee's career forever. Hollywood took notice of this young filmmaker who wasn't afraid to tackle controversial subjects. It led to bigger budgets, more creative freedom, and a platform to continue telling important stories. But the controversy never really went away. Even today, more than 30 years later, people still debate whether Spike Lee went too far with that scene. Some argue that it was necessary to shine a light on colorism. Others believe it reinforced harmful stereotypes. What's interesting is how the movie has aged. Many of the issues it addressed are still relevant today. Colorism didn't disappear after 1988. If anything, social media has made it more visible and more painful for many people. Young people discovering School Daze for the first time are often shocked by how current it feels. The dynamics between the different groups of students, the pressure to conform, the way appearance affects how people are treated. These problems didn't end when the movie credits rolled. The scene that almost got the movie banned has become one of the most studied and referenced scenes in film history. Film schools show it to students as an example of how cinema can tackle difficult social issues. Scholars write papers analyzing its impact on black cinema and American culture. But beyond all the academic discussion, the scene remains powerful because it captures something real, the pain that comes from being judged by your own community based on things you can't control. The way that internalized racism can poison relationships and destroy self-esteem. Looking back, it's clear that Spike Lee knew exactly what he was doing when he created that scene. He wasn't trying to entertain people or make them comfortable. He was trying to hold up a mirror to society and force people to look at ugly truths they preferred to ignore. The fact that the scene is still controversial today proves that Lee succeeded in his mission. He created something that couldn't be ignored, something that demanded a response, something that started conversations that needed to happen. Whether you love the scene or hate it, you can't deny its impact. It changed how movies could talk about race and identity. It showed that black filmmakers could create complex, challenging work that didn't have to appeal to everyone. It proved that controversial art could be both commercially successful and culturally important. The legacy of that scene extends far beyond the movie itself. It influenced a generation of filmmakers who weren't afraid to tackle difficult subjects. It showed audiences that they could handle complex, uncomfortable stories. It proved that cinema could be a powerful tool for social change. Today, when we watch School Daze, we can see how that controversial scene fits into Spike Lee's broader body of work. It was just the beginning of a career built on challenging audiences and refusing to make things easy or comfortable. The scene that almost got School Daze banned didn't destroy the movie. It made the movie unforgettable. It turned a college comedy drama into a cultural phenomenon. It transformed Spike Lee from a promising young filmmaker into a voice that couldn't be silenced. And that's the real power of controversial art. When it's done right, when it comes from a place of truth and passion, it doesn't just entertain. It changes things. It starts conversations. It forces people to think differently about themselves and their world. The uncensored scene that almost got School Daze banned ended up being the scene that made the movie matter. 35 years later, people are still talking about it, still debating it, still learning from it. And that might be the greatest success any filmmaker could ask for. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure you hit that like button and share this video with someone who loves film history. And don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from Hollywood's most controversial moments. Trust me, there are plenty more shocking tales where this one came from. Until next time, keep watching and keep questioning everything you see on screen.